Right. And I think one of the things to points you were making is I'm going to pull away from politics for a sec. I think one of the challenges that, and well, it's going to go back to politics, but you said they're on our side, on the Democrat side. Do we even talk about it in political terms, or do we talk about it from the standpoint the Democrats are on the humanities side, right? The Republicans have turned American values into partisan talking points. Tolerance, inclusiveness, um, you know, of course, the diversity, equity, all that stuff. We that should be basic humanity. That shouldn't be a partisan issue. And that goes back to the point I was making before about how, you know, I understand the value of dealing with people that you don't agree with, but when those people that you don't agree with your mere right to exist, right? You know what I'm saying? And don't forget the people on the right who call us snowflakes, they're the ones who scream bloody murder when we do anything to hold them accountable. They want to be able to treat people that um, people of color, LGBTQ folks. They want to be able to treat immigrants. They want to be able to treat them any way they want to. But the minute you try to hold them accountable for their inhumanity to another man, then they scream bloody murder. That seems like an easy thing to call out, but I've never seen it. I mean, maybe that's something you and I spearhead going into 24, but it's got to start happening.
I don't know if it's easy, John, because and I don't again, I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist. I don't want to psychoanalyze these people, but it's not about the actual fear mongering. It's not about trans people. It's not about being a man. It's not about anti women. It's not about that issue, right? There's obviously an insecurity there that they're fighting against because it used to be the Italians or it used to be the Polish people in the early 20s, whatever it was, right? Then it turned into black people and Mexican people, Muslims and the Arabs after 9/11. And then it kind of went into Russian, but now they're pro Russia, right? And then now it's like they've went through every kind of cycle of group and they've fallen on trans people now because those are the most vulnerable. They're next on the list. After trans people, they'll figure out somebody else to go against, right? So the victim or the target, I should say, is always ever changing, but it's really the same problem behind it all to me. And it's a lot of things, obviously, right? It's the remnants of white supremacy that's we're trying to fall or take down or kind of root out of our system. It's the patriarchy. It's all these kind of buzzwords that the Gen Zers use, right? But there's something wrong with the inherent person to look at another person and say, "I don't recognize your humanity," as you're saying. It's not about the actual other person; it's about themselves. So I don't know how you message against that because there's still a lot of obviously that community. It's still viable. 75 million people voted for Donald Trump. I think another 70 plus will go ahead and vote for him again in 2024. And I just don't know how you message against that other than we are better as a society. We've already figured out all these problems, right? We've already had the sit ins, we've already had the civil rights movements. There's a lot of work to be done, obviously, clearly, but we don't have to relitigate any of this stuff. And that's kind of the general sentiment I think the country feels. And I don't know how you necessarily. I think we've already won that battle, so I'm not sure what we're trying to do. You know.
Right. Well, no, what it I don't know. I just as we I get so frustrated. And you talk about the 71 million people that voted for Trump. It's time to say that we've got 71 million problems in this country, right? We have people that can look at someone who's a misogynist, who's a racist, who's Islamophobic, who basically um, you know, was a corrupt person, and the people are saying, "I want that guy." At what point in time do we, as a democracy, say that we have a problem? we sit there and we look and we see 71 million people vote for Trump, and we're like, oh, 71 people voted for Trump. He must be doing something. Someone needs to look at those 71 million people who voted for Trump and said, what is wrong with our country? It's not what's wrong with Hillary. It's not what's wrong with Biden. It's what's wrong with people who can look at a racist, sexist, misogynist who now has basically put our nation at risk, with the documents and everything else, and say that doesn't say to me anything about the Democrats. That says everything about how screwed up a certain segment, a significant segment of our population is. And we have to start calling them what they are. And I believe you're saying we have to say they're screwed up. Look, this is not a situation where I'm pro choice, someone else is pro life, and we have different values. I understand that. But if someone will say, since I'm saying I'm pro choice, and I would like to think if we actually had a pro life Republican and a pro choice Democrat, and the pro life Democrat was corrupt as hell, I'd like to think that I wouldn't vote for that corrupt Democrat. I'd like to think and if I did, I deserve to be called out for basically, not voting for someone of character.